Hello, my name is Max Fritz, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit about my workshop that I will be presenting at SharePoint Fest Chicago 2019 in December. I'm a technical specialist at Microsoft, focusing in regulated industries, and I'm going to be having a workshop about tightening identity security in Microsoft 365. And as we all know, SharePoint, Teams, Exchange, OneDrive, Outlook, all these wonderful services and applications we use are great, but security is a common theme that organizations need to deal with every day, and identity is one of the keys to those. And so I put together a workshop where we're going to walk through the importance of these technologies, how these technologies work, and most importantly, actually implementing them in a real life scenario. So this workshop is going to be on Tuesday at 9 a.m. till 12:30, so a half-day workshop at the SharePoint Fest conference. If you haven't heard of SharePoint Fest before, please do go check it out at sharepointfest.com, and you can use my promo code here to save a little bit on your registration as well. It is a week-long conference bringing together some of the best minds in SharePoint and Office 365, all around tons of different concepts such as Teams and business applications and SharePoint, of course. And I strongly recommend you check it out if you haven't been there before. People from all over the country come and join for this, and there are some wonderful speakers both from Microsoft, accredited Microsoft MVP speakers, and other community speakers as well. A little more about my session, though. My workshop. Why we're talking about this. If you haven't heard of this yet, hopefully you have, but identity is our biggest breach factor out there nowadays. Our firewalls, of course, important. Our data security, of course, important. But the identity, that username and password, that credential, that's where it all comes down to. We found that 81% of breaches are caused by literal credential theft, whether that be a phishing email, using the same password out there. And we even found that 73% of passwords out there are duplicates. And this is from pure admission from employees at enterprise organizations. And lastly, one of the biggest threats is 80% of employees are using non-approved applications for work. So even if we do implement identity security technologies against our known applications and our approved applications, we're still missing a large picture of the game out there of securing those other identities and those other applications. Maybe it's also a game of our employees don't know about the applications that we have to offer them. Maybe they're looking at third parties that we necessarily don't approve of, but there's something else that we have given them instead, such as OneDrive versus Dropbox and Teams versus Slack, and whatever you might choose to use. So in looking at this threat to an organization, we're going to look at solving it through a variety of different ways. We're going to look at secure authentication, how we implement things like modern authentication and how OAuth and things like that work. We'll actually walk through the authentication scenarios and the authorization processes that you can use in the Microsoft Cloud. We're going to look at conditional access, how that works, and our next level of it, risk-based conditional access, where we can actually intelligently analyze a sign-in to decide if it is suspicious or a threat to the organization. And all wrapped in our identity protection services. We're going to look at some additional technologies such as Microsoft's Cloud App Security for discovering those unknown cloud applications that might be considered shadow IT or unapproved applications. And all of this is going to be heavily within the context of protecting the applications and services that we care about as attendees of SharePoint Fest. Of course, SharePoint, but Teams, Yammer, Exchange, and OneDrive, and more. So as we go throughout our workshop together, we're going to look through a lens, especially from Teams and SharePoint, to understand how these identity security technologies really affect our users' daily lives or lack of effect. So I hope you do come join me at my workshop. But if you'd like, I also do have 4 other sessions that you can come check me out at. We're going to talk about configuring Azure AD Connect, which is the appliance that does the identity layer and connection between your on-premises AD and Azure AD, servicing Microsoft 365. We're going to talk a little bit more about hybrid identity and security, broadening up that earlier picture of Azure AD Connect into what is this whole hybrid identity in the first place. And If you are getting started with Office 365 administration, I strongly recommend checking out OFF302. We're going to just do some basics of here's what you should be looking at every day, week, or month. And lastly, I will be up at a panel for Ask Microsoft Anything at the end of the day on Friday, where you can just throw darts at me. I'd strongly recommend you get registered today before ticket prices go up or they sell out. SharePointFest.com. I look forward to seeing you there. Have a good day.